Hey guys, it's Morgan with BDSM Relationships and Education. Thank you very much for checking out this video. We are going to be talking about more rope bondage today, so yay! So if you haven't done so already, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Turn on your notifications, and that way you'll see all the educational videos that I post. I tend to do at least one Tuesday and one Saturday, and then sometimes I post some extra bonus stuff in between, or vlogs or whatever. So please make sure you turn on the notifications so you hear about all that stuff. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And if you have anything that you want to say, comments below. I love getting questions and stuff like that. So by all means. So we are going to work today. This is my lovely rope bunny. It is my IV pole, and I have now attached my DIY spreader bar. I'll give you a link for that one, to the IV pole so that I have two columns, because we are doing a double column tie. Now, what I want is, I don't want you guys to see, oh, it's a spreader bar and an IV pole. It's not what this is. This is two wrists, whether it's the same person or different people, because we can use this to tie two people together if we really want to. Or it's two ankles, or it's somebody's wrist to their ankle, or whatever you want to say. But this is basically how you tie two things together. Now, I'm going to show you two different variations on this. The first one is going to be based off of the single column tie. So if you haven't sort of mastered that one, I'm going to give you the link. Go and look it up. Watch that video, learn how to do that tie, and then you can move on to this one, because you need to know how to do that tie in order to do this one, basically. For the second version of it, you don't need to know that first one, but I still highly recommend that you learn that one. It's very simple to learn. I'm also going to do this in a couple of different rope types. I'm going to start with jute, and then I'm also going to do it in nylon, just so that you guys can see how it ties, because I know that not everybody is going to be using jute. If you haven't watched my video on which rope types are best for bondage, I will also leave you a link for that one, and that way you can check that out and decide what type of rope is best for you. There's a couple of different considerations, texture, price, all of that sort of stuff. I go into it in detail in that video, so you can check that out. So let's do the first variation. We want to start with a limb loop, and then we're going to, or the single column tie, whichever you want to call it, and then we are going to add a cinch to it using the bite. This isn't going to work. All right. Well, hopefully this will work. I went and I got my other IV pole, so I was like, oh, I could just use two IV poles, because yes, I am the type of person who has two IV poles for no particular reason, but it didn't work. So we are back to a spreader bar and an IV pole, so let's see how we can work here. So we're going to wrap, okay, so we've gone around twice. All right, so, and this is awkward as all get out because I'm tying all of this totally backwards. So we are going to cross over and come up in between. There we go. And then it's a bit of a crisscross, and then we create a loop, pull the bite through, and a knot. So there we go. So there's our single column tie. Now this could very easily come loose, like very easily. So we take our bite and we can pull it through, and this is a bit long, so maybe we want to pull it through twice, and you can see that that cinches in the middle, and then we just put the working end through the bite. Okay, so from the other side, that's what it looks like. All right, so that's pretty straightforward. And then you can go on, as long as you've got it sort of the downward pressure there, you can go on and tie other stuff with that rope, with what's left over. Now to undo it, you just have to pull that through and then undo your knot. So that's one way to go about doing that. It just is two things and a little bit of a cinch in the middle. And that cinch is what stops it from getting all over the place. So for our next one, again, we're going to find the bite. We're going to fold the rope in half. And this time we are going to wrap around our two columns 3 times. Okay? So we want to leave a bunch of rope on either end. So there's 1 and then 2. I don't want everything all caught up here. And 3 times. So let me bring this around so that it's in the front. So we've got 3 times. Now, and notice how all of the wraps are nice and smooth and they're not overlapping and they're not all twisted up. So we're going to take those 2. I forgot this IV bowl like rolls way easier. And then we're going to cross them. Yeah, let's cross them this way. So I'm going to cross and bring up. And then I'm going to bring this one through the back here. And this is our cinch. Okay? And then all of this is going to come forward. Okay? This one's easy to bring forward. So now I've wrapped it around. Now you can wrap it around more times if you have more space. What we're looking for is we want to have a little bit of space in here, right? So like, because if this is someone's wrist, then we don't want it super, super tight. So I can stick, you know, one of my fingers in here. And then we just finish this off with an overhand knot. So I'm going to trust you guys know how to do an overhand knot. It's just like tying your shoes. Let's see if I can do it at this incredibly awkward angle. There. And there. So really quite simple. Let me show you the back. And the back looks very similar to what we did with the other one. And again, to untie, we just need to undo this knot. And then bring this one down, bring this one through, and you can see my wraps fall off all on their own. So I'm going to do this. So I'm going to tie this one more time with the jute, and then we're going to move on to nylon, and I'll show you how it goes with nylon. So again, always have your rope folded in half. We're working with double rope, and you can kind of start towards, say, the middle of your rope when you're doing your wraps, if you want to go from both directions. And we are aiming for 3 times around. So again, somebody asked in the last video, I am using Douglas Kent rope. It is 7 meters long. No idea what that is in feet. This is a shorter length of rope because I am a shorter top. I'm only 5 feet tall. So we don't want to have like huge amounts of rope. So 7 meters of rope folded in half. And then we've done 3 wraps. And all the wraps are nice and flat. And then we are going to crisscross. I'm going to bring the one from the bottom through to the top, the one from the top through to the bottom, and making sure always that they're nice and flat. And then I'm going to bring it around to cinch. And I'll bring that through. And that gives me the cinch that I need. And then I'm just going to tie an overhand knot at a very awkward angle. So I'm trying to keep my hands out of the way so that you guys can see. So it's just 1 knot, 2 knots in opposite directions. I think I actually got that one backwards because I'm doing it backwards. But that is basically it. You have a nice, neat little package. Kind of looks like a bow. We have a bit of space in here so that we're not, compressing nerves or anything like that. And then we can tie this off to something else if we want. And wrists, ankles, whatever are tied together. So I'm just going to slide that out of the way because I don't think you really need to watch me untie it. There is not a lot to be learned from watching me untie something that is as simple as that. I do want to show you with nylon though, because when we're using slipperier rope like this, it changes things. Okay. So, and the reason that I'm choosing nylon here is because I think that it's one of the most popular sort of beginner rope types. It's something that is easily accessible to a lot of people because you could get it at the dollar store, which is where I got mine. So, we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to take it, the rope is folded in half. We are going to go around. Again, you can kind of start at the middle of your rope if you want, and that way you'll have enough left on each side. Or you can just know how much you need to leave. Okay, so 1, 2. I'm caught up here. Oh, there we go. There's the problem. And I'm going to give this an extra wrap. Okay, so there we go. So now I'm going to take the bottom and bring it up towards the top. I'm going to take the top and bring it towards the bottom. And pass it in between our columns or our limbs or whatever you want to call them. So we've crisscrossed and brought it through, and now I'm going to take that around and it's going to come back up. I'm going to take this and it's going to come through the bottom. Okay, so take my foot off the IV pole and it starts to roll away. So then we are going to do the same thing. We are going to tie our very twisted and backwards overhand knot. Okay, overhand knot. Now I could leave it like this and hope that it holds. If the bottom is really squirmy and struggly, then they may loosen this knot. So I could, there's nothing saying that I can't, it will add bulk, but I can tie a couple more knots. Okay, so it doesn't look as good, sort of. The other option that I have, instead of just, going and tying a buttload of knots, is I can undo that. So now I'm just down to the original overhand knot, but I can take it and I can wrap it around again if I want. And then tie it here, or I could tie it on the back of the knot. So let's tie it back here. So really easy to do. Now you can do more wraps around here if the two things are farther apart and you need to keep them together, but we just always want to make sure that we have that bit of room in between. So that's it. I would add the extra sort of wrap and knot with nylon and with cotton, and that'll reduce the amount of pressure that's put on those knots so that they won't, with nylon, just slip apart, or with cotton, tighten up so much that you have to cut the person out, right? So that is 2 different ways to tie 2 columns, whether it's arms or legs or whatever, together. So hopefully you guys found that one useful, and hopefully you don't mind my stand-in rope bunny here. But like I said, it's sometimes easier for me to show you on this rather than on on an actual human being, where I have to work out camera angles that I'm not very good at and I don't have the equipment for. So yeah, let me know if you'd like to see something different, if you found this helpful, whatever. Anyways, thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video if you did like it, and I will see you guys in the next video.